we found this group of Afghan refugees, and even within them, we found a subgroup of women who were from the Hazara community in Afghanistan, the Hazaras. Now, they are one of the most persecuted communities, and they are fleeing the extreme version of Islam, the Salafist, and etc. More the world gets to know that this is an alternative way which is sustainable, and this is the only way now forward. Our inspiration of doing something in craft was more the inspiration that led to doing this was to upcycle waste fabric from the garment industry, that how we could put to use fabric waste which otherwise goes to landfill.
How purpose and process comes together, especially when the social design becomes a part of the business model itself. Hello and welcome everyone to this special edition of the Geo interview. I'm delighted to host this conversation today. Drawing from my experience with the Mercedes-Benz BeVisioneers Fellowship, which supports changemakers reimagining sustainability, this discussion resonates deeply. It shines a light on the remarkable story of Afghan refugee women in Delhi, women who rebuild their lives one stitch at a time. Through Silai Wali, they transform discarded fabrics into art and storytelling, reminding us that sustainability is not just about what we create, but about who we empower as well. Joining us today is Mr. Bishwadeep Moitra, the founder of Silai Wali. It's a venture that is not only sustainable but also empowers Afghan refugee women through livelihood opportunities and financial stability. Truly, where craft meets conscience. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me for this interview.
Thank you, sir. Before we get into the details of your journey with Silai Wali, I'd love to start on a slightly lighter note. So, Delhi, where your work is based, has such a vibrant design culture. Is there any particular place, market, or any craft tradition in Delhi that inspires you the most?
Well, Delhi has a lot of craft, but you see I mean, the nature of craft is as such that the craftsperson, whether it's a man or a woman, they do not live in the metropolitan cities. I mean, they normally live in villages or tribal areas. India is one of the few countries in the world that has still a lot of craft, not just India, but this whole region of India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, Bhutan. I mean, these places have a lot of craft. And Delhi, you see a lot of craft brought by the artisans from around, and you see that craft. Our inspiration of doing something in craft was more the inspiration that led to doing this was to upcycle waste fabric from the garment industry, that how we could put to use fabric waste which otherwise goes to landfill into making a product or making products those could be sold in the market as a decorative item. So that was our inspiration.
Like, that's really wonderful. Like, it really has that pulse that blends chaos and creativity both while also upcycling textile waste. So, on that note, let's begin tracing the story of Silai Wali itself. So, how it all began and how it evolved into the social enterprise that we know today. So, my question to you is Silai Wali has become a beautiful intersection of art and sustainability, and at the same time, empowering marginalized communities. So, given the current context, how did your initial vision emerge and what shaped its direction at the early stages?
Well, as I said before, that we noticed that there is a lot of waste that happens while manufacturing garments. Now, Delhi NCR, rather, the adjoining cities of Noida and around Delhi is actually a hub of garment manufacturing for many big brands around the world. Uh, you name it, and they have some production that happens around Delhi. So there is, the waste from the table that when you cut a garment, some parts of it are thrown. That is one kind of waste. The other kind of waste is when a big manufacturing happens, let's say, a skirt or a shirt or something, and the manufacturer, uh, you know, does acquires the fabric for the production, but for some reason it gets rejected by the brand. So then in that case there is a lot of that reject fabric which is available. Plus what happens is there are end pieces also which are like a meter or less than a meter, which are of no use to make that garment. So we notice that there is a lot of material available that could be upcycled. And since we were in Delhi and we wanted to make our social enterprise in Delhi, there are no artisans per se in Delhi. I mean, Delhi has a lot of migrant laborers, but they are not skilled artisans. I mean, artisans have a certain kind of a skill depending on the region and the cluster the person comes from. And it is so varied in India, you'll be surprised the kinds and kinds of skills you have in different regions. And within the region, there, the skills change. So we found this group of Afghan refugees, and even within them, we found a subgroup of women who were from the Hazara community in Afghanistan, the Hazaras. Now, they are one of the most persecuted communities, and they are fleeing the extreme version of Islam, the Salafist and etc. for a long time, more than 100 years, and they've been coming to India. We have a long history of having Afghan refugees in India. But the current lot of refugees, women we work with, they were sort of persecuted by the Taliban regime who had come to India. So these ladies, they knew how to do embroidery very well. I mean, that was their sort of a skill that they had got as their heritage. But they had never worked before. I mean, they worked in their homes only. And so we sort of made a group of 8 to 10 ladies, and we first trained them in making products, and it was a success. And that's how we started in the end of 2018. And since in few months we realized that this was doable, and we got some international clients also interested in what we were doing. So our we very quickly sort of increased the number of artisans we were working with. We were working in about 6 or 8 months. We were working with about 100 women. So that's how we started and grew.
That's really inspiring and incredible as well, like how purpose and process comes together, especially when the social design becomes a part of the business model itself. And I think what's particularly interesting about Silai Wali is the complexity of the process itself, like from sourcing discarded fabric to skill building. So the process seems very intricate. So how do you assess its broader community impact, particularly in terms of the sustained livelihood generation and the economic contribution?
Well, we are certified by the World Fair Trade Organization. It's an organization that certifies you on fair practices in businesses and sustainable business practices. So we have a model which is provided by them, where we sort of regularly keep data of the money that is earned by the artisans, there are many sort of we sort of welcome. We are very open door kind of enterprise. We welcome any media that wants to come and speak to the artisans and find out directly from them what the sustainable employment, how it has contributed in their welfare. So all that is there, in the public domain, interviews of the artisans, etc. Plus, when we uh, decide the wages, we keep in mind that uh, it complies with the prescribed local government wages. All of that, we all record it while these discussions happen with the artisans, and those are filed as records with WFTO, which is based in Netherlands.
That's like a really powerful perspective, and like it really shows how design and social impact can also become a form of economic generation as well. So, Delhi also, as you said earlier, is more than just a location. It's like a very crucial part of your story as well. So, you're based in Delhi, a city that's both India's capital and its cultural crossroads as well. So, storytelling often drives the emotional economy of sustainable brands. So, how do you see storytelling shaping the kind of impact Silai Wali creates?
Our product, it's sold in 135 cities around the world. We sell very little in India primarily because of the backstory. And I would I would like to correct myself. It's not primarily because of the backstory. It's a lot because of the backstory and the design aesthetics of our products, uh, because they are more aligned for the Western markets. Because the co-founder of Silai Valley and its creative director is a French woman. So that's where we sort of, in terms of business, from the beginning we focused uh, to the global north to be our markets. So in terms of storytelling, we are lucky that our story is told by almost all the media houses in India, major ones, newspapers and television. Plus, there are many Western newspapers and television channels. They keep doing stories on us. It's all over the social media, in their social media handles, as well as they're there on a website. Plus, we actively post on Instagram and LinkedIn to tell a story. Over and above, every product that we sell anywhere in the world carries a tag that tells the story of how this product is made with a photograph of the artisans who make it. So that's how we sort of communicate our story, which is very important because our success is also because of the backstory of the products. The products are very beautiful, but it becomes a big factor for a customer to decide between two similar kind of products, one from us and one from somewhere else in the world, when they know that how this product was made.
So that's really beautifully put. Like it really underscores that every product carries a human story behind it. And over the years as well, you have witnessed the evolution of sustainability itself within the fashion ecosystem. So you have been in this space for over half a decade now, observing how sustainability has evolved within fashion itself. So, despite their ethical value as well, upcycled products often remain on the margins of mainstream fashion. So, from your perspective, what would it take for sustainable and upcycled production to become truly central to the industry?
It is the consciousness and the you know and the communication. More the world gets to know that this is an alternative way which is sustainable, and this is the only way now forward. because the way we have consumed and the way we will continue to consume, it will not lessen. But the more we consume, the more waste we generate. So, what do we do with that waste? Now, the thing is, in upcycling, the the basic principle of upcycle is that when you make a product with the waste, the value of which will be more than what the original product was. That is upcycling. I mean, recycling is slightly different. In the recycling, the product value actually lessens. But in upcycle, for instance, the doll we make with the waste fabric of the skirt that was cut, our doll is sold at a higher price than the skirt was. So a skirt in a US market, in a sort of a multi brand, not I'm not talking high fashion, but I'm talking about a mid range to low mid range markets, would sell for about $20 or $25 or at best $30. But the doll would be sold for, our doll sells for $66. So that is how much more, the value that has gone up. So, but again, the the world needs to know that this is possible. People want to spend when they know that their money is going to a cause that ultimately benefits them also. They are also a part of this circular chain. This story has to be told. It's a new idea that started only some decade ago or a little more. It'll take time for the world to understand and adopt. And even for people like us or organizations like us who are in this business of sustainability and upcycling waste, etc., we also have to learn a lot more things because it's a new industry. There are new things which we learn all the time. It's a process. It cannot happen overnight. It's a slow process, and that's how it is. We have to accept it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I also think that raising awareness is very crucial in this sector. And this is the balance between ethics and economics, is where the real challenge lies. So that brings me to a slightly philosophical question, one that lies at the heart of ethical fashion. So, building on that idea, beyond the sustainability rhetoric, what do you think is the real ethical question that the fashion and design ecosystem still refuses to confront?
Well, it's the same. It's they refuse to confront the waste they add to the industry because it is a very competitive world. This garment industry, the fashion industry, is an extremely competitive world, and the big brands have to keep producing and producing and producing because the other brand is also doing the same thing. The challenge here is that how you strike a balance, because you cannot change the system, you cannot change people's aspirations of having more and more, because that more and more is so easily available. 50 years ago it was not so easy to produce more. 50 years later it will be easier to produce than what we are producing today. So how do you sort of balance the thing out that we don't clog our systems and create mountains of garbage all around our cities? That is a big challenge.
That is really well summed up. Like, it provides such a sharp insight. And I think it compels us to rethink what even ethical means, like in practice and not just in branding, like the fast fashion brands do. So, finally, zoning out to the global level as well, as we talked about the fast fashion sector, with fast fashion brands dominating markets across continents. So, do you believe that their sustainable initiatives are meaningful? Are they really eco conscious, or is their distinction line is blurry? So, what's your view on fast fashion and its growing dominance in the global market?
You see, their dominance cannot be checked.
Hmm.
And why would anybody want to check growth of any sort of industry or market? That's not feasible. However, what is feasible and is to again find ways how to offset the damages of it. Now the beginning has been made. All the big brands today, they are trying to figure out ways how to upcycle and how to put industries like ours into their circular production chain. It's a very small progress, but you have to understand that these large brands who are in the fashion industry, they are huge corporations, and they have very complex supply chains and time frames, and it's a very complex industry. Now to add another element in that industry, or another sort of, say, stage in that industry, is not that easy. I explain you. I'll give you an example. For instance, let's talk of H&M. Now, uh, the department in H&M that is following production of H&M on a certain season knows that, say, they have made, say, 1 million shirts. Now, from that 1 million shirt, there has to be some waste. Now, they have to divert the waste to a company like ours to make something. Now, in order to do that, that person has to stop the work who he or she is supposed to do and concentrate on this, which is happening. I mean, which is not that it's not happening at all, but it is happening very slowly. At least the idea is sown in that that will only grow from here. I mean, we have worked with very big labels like the World Market in US, or the high fashion brand. World Market is fast. It's like they have many things, including in which there is a lot of fast fashion. But fashion brands also, big fashion brands like Chloe, where they are very limited edition, very limited production, but very expensive. Even they want to. They have sort of collaborated us with us to make things. Even in India now, there are many brands who want to collaborate, because it helps them as well to tell a story that it's not just about them making clothes, but they also have a backstory through our story, so it helps them also. But again, it's early days now for this to really you know uh, multiply, and more organizations come like us who can upcycle more and do more handicraft, and sort of give more employments to marginalized women and men, because there are so many in India, who are on the borderlines. And our craft industry is huge. It's huge, and we have and and slowly the thing is that these craftspeople, they're the next generation, they are moving away from doing craft work because there isn't enough work, or that work doesn't fetch enough value, so they do things like mobile repair or those kind of things. So I mean, it has a big potential, but the potential has to be realized. I mean, the people are moving slowly, but then it'll be better if the governments and the agencies and the industry, everybody sort of now go beyond the boardroom and actually do something on the machine room rather.
That's like such a great way to frame it. Like, even like the stories should be uplifted, the traditional craftsmen, their work should be recognized more. And like it reminds us that awareness alone is not enough as well, like action and accountability must follow. So, also, this has been such a meaningful and layered conversation, tracing how Silai Wali has transformed not only discarded fabrics but also lives, different stories, bringing them to the global stage and the larger narrative of the sustainability in India as well. So, kudos to you and your team, and thank you so much, Mr. Moitra, for sharing your story, taking the time out for us, and for reminding us that sustainability is not just about what we create, but how we care, how we collaborate, and how we continue to do the same. And to our audience, thank you for tuning in. Stay engaged as we continue to bring conversations that celebrate creativity with conscience.